Welcome everyone to the showdown between the Dark Elves, who shall be led by the High Beastmaster, coming in with that sweet whiplash. Today, my friends, we face off against the Dinos, who shall be led by King of the Dead and Nakai. So man, for a moment there, I looked at Nakai, I was like, oh, what's his name? I'm going to forget this, but it's actually Nakai. You don't see him terribly often, but nonetheless, King and I played a couple games, and we both kind of agreed to play factions we weren't super familiar with, and also play with some unorthodox choices to make things interesting. Now, as far as my build goes in the front line, it's going to be very chaff-heavy, because again, I do have the Chill of Sontar, the Mighty Hydra, so I had to go a little bit cheap as it pertains to the rest of my army, but I have Bleak Swords in the front line, and they're cheap. They can fight against Skinks relatively well, they can take a beating from Saurus, and they have Silver Shields against Chameleon Spam and kind of a mass kind of cohorts. So there's going to be 4 of those in total. I do also have 2 Dark Riders with the repeater crossbows, and these guys are just great against dinos in general. Good AP, good mobility. Dinos can catch them with some things. I mean, they can't truly catch them, but they can pressure them with things. But for the most part, with good micro, Dark Riders with repeater crossbows can really do a number on just huge armored targets like Kroxigors and Nakai, for example, and Lord Croak back there as well. Things are about to get real ham. 2 bolt throwers as well, so 2 of these bad boys. I thought King might go for a bit of a weird build using like laser dinos and just kiting and pulling me apart with something very unorthodox. So I wanted to bring a couple bolt throwers just to kind of keep things in check here. And again, good steady damage against large targets, especially against the Ancient Salamander that he did bring. In the back defending those, I do have these Sisters of Singing Doom. Just a really good choice. They cause terror and are just very powerful. And being able to rampage and hold something in place is just one of the best mechanics in the entire game, using the Madness of Cain. Up in the sky, we do, of course, have the High Beastmaster, who I think is a good lord, but he's just kind of overshadowed by like Marathi and Malekith. And look at him, he's wielding that whip. This guy's not messing about. Now, he does have the Whiplash, so you can give basically any unit? I always thought it was just like monstrous kind of units, but I guess it's if it's not a lord or a hero. But basically, you could give your Hydra plus 50% weapon damage, plus 50% AP damage, charge bonus, charge speed. It's pretty insane. So you can do that. You can also give him the Beast Slaver, which gives him extra bonus for his large combat stats. And he does have one of the best items in the entire game, which is a Tormentor Sword, which makes sense. He would be like the kind of guy who would use a Tormentor Sword, not like a Thane or something like that. Over here, we do also have 2 Golden Knights. Again, pretty self-explanatory. A good kind of high mass unit to pin down some of the big dino threats. Now for the Forces of King, he's got a whole front line of skink cohorts with Javelins, going to be dropping the base on my front line. I'm sure with those guys, Saurus in the secondary and Power Fist Kroxigors wielding their -1 to hit. It's just a Warhammer 40k reference, but nonetheless, they can take things to Pound Town for sure. Just a little bit expensive, and yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think why Sacred Kroxigors just aren't good. Maybe it's from like a cost perspective. I mean, it's not that they're bad, it's just they're not like good enough to make it into a lot of mainstream competitive builds, but I mean, they hit really hard for sure. He does also have an Ancient Salamander, which is pretty good against elite Dark Elf builds, but if I have like Chaff as well as a bunch of missiles, it's going to have a hard time. He has Croak as well. Lord Croak, I feel like we haven't seen this guy in forever, but if he gets his nukes off, it can be very scary. He's got Nakai the Wanderer, the cohort of Waddle here, no, just more Sacred Kroxigors, and that's pretty much it. So a very aggressive build with a little bit of range support in the form here of an Ancient Salamander as well as the Croak Man. So from here, the Chill of Sontar is going to be going up. Bolt throwers are shooting into the Salamander, because if I don't deal with that Salamander, it's really going to hurt my Bleak Swords and also my Cav units. So I scoot forward here. This is a little bit of a misplay. I thought I could get a volley off before he got close enough, but man, I just get wrecked here. So I charge forward. A ton of Javelins come in. I mean, I only lose like 2 models in each unit, so it's not that bad. But nonetheless, it was pretty unfortunate. You can see I lose a lot of HP, but only lost 3 models. So there's still pretty good firing capacity. So now the Javelins are going into the front, going after, it looks to be the Bleak Swords or maybe the Chill of Sontar, which is probably the best choice. But the longer the fighting is delayed, it's not necessarily bad for me, because the bolt throwers are starting to get in there and do some damage. And I tried to do a timing breath right here, so I thought by the time the breath attack went off, he would be more like kind of in this zone. But unfortunately, the Hydra was a little bit quicker than I thought. And it still does some okay damage, clips the edge of those skink cohorts, but really wasn't as good as I thought it would be. So the Hydra's going to be jumping in now, going after some of the Saurus here in just a moment. I believe we pull it back for a moment and then get the Bleak Swords in. Bleak Swords are fighting against Saurus, which the Saurus will eventually win that. So at this point, I fall back with the Hydra. There's a lot of focus fire coming in, and the Bolt Throwers are doing really good. You can see the Ancient Salamander's almost down, so we've gotten good value, and now all my repeater crossbows are in a happy position, shooting into the Sacred Kroxigors, but I hadn't played against Croak in like a million years, so I totally forgot he existed and what he does. So Lord Croak is just going to be going balls deep right here. I was not expecting this. I totally forgot about Croak. And brutal damage is about to go down here. It's a huge explosion on the Dark Elf lines. I just get shreked so bad. I did not know what happened, and then I was in Discord with King. We were talking while we were playing, and he was like laughing, and I was like, what is it? And I was like, oh no. But we do get our recourse here. You can see the Hydra does have the Whiplash, and now it's rocking 660 weapon strength, very, very juiced up, and we're able to beat down Nakai pretty well. The Hydra doing huge damage, and also the High Beastmaster coming in as well with his anti-large, and pretty good stat line, even though he's on a Manticore. So this whole flank basically gets collapsed, and it looks like another attack going in from Croak right here, but I am able to dodge that for the most part. It takes out like 2 of the Dark Riders, so really not a big deal. So we're going to be shooting these Croc scores here, and the Cold One Knights are going to be countercharging them while Nakai continues to fight the Hydra. So here comes the Cold One Knights charging in, and this is a really good situation. The Cold One Knights plus the crossfire from the repeater crossbows is really going to lead to a quick demise, most likely here for the Sacred Croc scores. But I do pull back once again. You can see another attempt there from Croak. King very sneaky, but after it happened to me once, I was like, it's not going to happen again. I'm not going to have it just devastate a huge pocket of my army once again. Really nice javelin fire there, able to take out a couple of the repeaters. And now the Witch Elves have been forced from the back line, and they should be able to do well against the Saurus, especially with terror routes and their bonus versus infantry, and they just have really good stats. Now back here in the monster fight, I have summoned my second Manticore. The High Beastmaster is going in on Nakai here, and I was able to get back with the Chill of Sontar while also using my other Manticore to chase down and shatter the Ancient Salamander. Breath Attack coming in the pipe here. That was a good one right there, wrecking the Skink cohorts, doing some massive damage while the Manticore pokes in. But the High Beastmaster started to take some Croxagore fists to the face, so I pulled him back, and I realized that my bolt throwers were almost compromised. So I need to get him back here, use him to peel off these skinks, at which point I can keep those bolt throwers firing. Now, as far as the bounce of power goes, it's a little bit my favorite. Nakai is coming in here. It's clobbering time. He's got his big old beat stick, and it looks like he is going after the High Beastmaster, and it looks like he makes contact. Does some pretty good damage. I do pull back the Cold One Knights, and it looks like another bomb is going to be going down here. So he does get me this time. Never again was definitely not the case. And just wrecks my Witch Elf. So man, really good play. You know, it's tricky because I was so focused on this engagement here that you know, it can be tough to keep track of, and it really, you know, gives you another level of respect for some of these players that just like never get caught by that, right? So right here you can see the High Beastmaster plus the Cold One Knights are fighting against Nakai. We have repeater crossbow fire coming in, and Nakai's in a lot of trouble. The High Beastmaster is a very powerful duelist, and of course that anti-large helps. And there's Cold One Knights here. I also have some infantry, unwilling infantry. These are actually the artillery crews fighting. But Nakai is broken. He's actually shaken, so it's a terror route. So he is terrified, which doesn't make sense. Nakai should be immune to psychology, in my opinion. But Croak's coming in as well. Summon Manticore does dissipate. Now the bounce fire is kind of clawed back towards the middle. It's a very, very close game, and basically I'm using my Dark Riders to try and get away from the Skinks, and I've also pulled back my artillery crew, so hopefully I'll get that back in the late game. And from here, we're just going to be trying to finish off Nakai. He does have Primal Roar and Cold Blood, so he's very, very tanky. And we do get a nice overcasted Flock of Doom on this blob right before my caster basically gets compromised. And the Manticore is coming in with the Steel Chair, trying to finish off Nakai. And is it going to be able to get him? It looks like he is broken. Croak, of course, fighting pretty hard here, but it looks like Nakai is taken out. The Chill of Sontar should be able to get him here. Oh no, he's still alive. No, down he goes. He's dead, right? He's got zero HP. Okay, so we did get him. The Chill of Sontar was able to go in for the strike, and the bounce power is actually kind of Lizard favored right now, which was a little bit scary. And I know that the Chill of Sontar could do okay in this combat here, but I still have ranged tools. I don't know, I accidentally had them on melee mode, so they charge in there, but I'll be pulling back in a second, don't worry. But nonetheless, the Chill of Sontar needs to escape. If he can get away, get some good breath attacks off, I can really maximize the efficiency of my my repeater bolt throwers here, the crossbows, repeater crossbows. I should be able to take out the Croc scores pretty effectively. So the Hydra is going to be falling back. We're getting a couple decent pot shots here. Going to be using the High Beastmaster to keep the Skinks away, basically just allowing me to kind of reset the situation. So we charge in here. You can see the Skink cohorts probably going to be getting routed off. I do also have some Bleak Swords in the back who should be able to kind of hold them at bay, and you can see here the Sacred Croc scores are pretty beat up, but we're able to get them blobbed here on top of the High Beastmaster. Of course, I don't like that they're beating on the High Beastmaster, but the breath attack going in, and oh man, just so much damage. Now, it only took out one, but that did a ton of HP damage, and now you can see that the repeater crossbows are really shooting in there, and they're just primed and ready to be massively terror routed. So here comes the High Beastmaster. We do have a Tormentor Sword. The terror route does go down here, and the Hydra does get the healing proc as well from having many regrowing heads. We also get the Bleak Swords kind of charging back in here, so now we have some troop quality, which is nice. Of course, giving some buffering here. And Croak is an okay combatant, but against a High Beastmaster, just going in deep on him here, he's not going to have a good time. 1100. The High Beastmaster is relatively low himself, but he does have the Beast Slaver, which is going to give him a huge bonus for Sarge against his big, thick Salon. And you can see that leads to a ton of damage. And now Croak is running for the hills. The High Beastmaster is 100% going to be able to kill him. And we still have the Chill of Sontar, which is healing, and it has infantry support, which means that the Dino infantry here will probably suffer a mass terror route, as the High Beastmaster is able to just absolutely dumpster Croak. So very well played. That's pretty much it. It's a mass route from there. You can see a couple Saurus coming back in. The Manticore going in for the whipping blow in the end, but he doesn't look like he really uses the whip. But I guess he does here and there. And that's going to be all she wrote. So very well played to King. It was one of our 3 games. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. It was an absolutely wild battle. I mean, some old school picks. We haven't seen Croak or Nakai in forever, and the High Beastmaster is a very uncommon pick as well. But using the Whiplash on the Chill of Sontar is just so much fun. And getting to see it get that massive combat boost, going from like 400 something to 600 something is pretty insane for sure. And the Chill of Sontar, you know, that thing has some teeth. As much of a meme as it is, in a way, it still isn't a bad unit. Of course, we've seen the great Falcon use it many times. But yeah, we love our Chill of Sontar here. He's a friend of the channel. And yeah, King's build was really fun. I mean, honestly, had he brought something other than the Ancient Salamander, I think it would have been a much scarier build. I think just going like all in on the Blitz would have been better. And he even said this after the game. He's like, I should have just brought like more Crocsgores or more like dinos to rush you with, because that was such a choice target. It basically immediately made the Bolt Throwers pay for themselves, which was, you know, quite nice from my perspective. So very well played to King. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Dark Elf vs. Dino game. And on that note, guys, we'll see you with more games soon. Take care.